Hello and welcome to Metal Vice, a podcast where we talk about all things music.
Well, the things we care about.
That's right, which is mainly metal music and live music. I'm one of your hosts, Brian, joined with the other host,
Karen.
And a little bit different, no metal music, but
No metal music.
Live music this time.
Yes.
What are we talking about, Karen?
We went to see one of the Candlelight performances here in Chicago.
Yeah. Before we dive super far into it, I guess let's start by what is the Candlelight, because this is something you found a year, 2 years ago or something?
Yeah, last year I had an ad for the Candlelight Experience where they were doing a tribute to Linkin Park. I wanted to go really bad, but we already had tickets to something or we weren't in town or something. I don't know. We were busy, basically. We weren't available that night, and so we didn't go. But then I saw this one come up, and this was a tribute to Hans Zimmer, right? Hans Zimmer?
Yeah, Hans
Okay.
Zimmerman.
Zimmerman?
I think so. Zimmer, maybe just Zimmer. Yeah,
Zimmer?
it's just Zimmer.
Okay.
There's no N there. Hans Zimmer.
Who composes, or not composes,
Well, he writes the scores for a bunch of movies.
writes the scores.
Yeah.
Yes, yeah, that's what I was trying to say. Yeah,
So kind of a composer, I would say.
Yeah, but we learned last night that he doesn't know how to read or write music.
Doesn't know how to read or write music, and has other people who he'll make the music and they'll write it down.
Yeah.
But I would still call that a composer to some extent.
Okay.
I mean, maybe not. I don't know the
think
nuances
that's
enough.
technically, but okay. But yeah, so we went and saw that performance.
A little bit more about it though. The name is Candlelight, and they play in a room full of candles. Like the only light in the room is supposed to be from the candles. So that's sort of where the name for Candlelight comes from. And they play in not weird venues, but they play in just whatever venue they can find, like an old mansion. Like this was in Stan Mansion here in Chicago, up in Logan Square.
Yeah.
Just this old mansion that gets rented out a lot for weddings. Like if you go to their website, you can book it for weddings and whatnot. That's mainly, I think, what they get used for, weddings and events. But this was a really cool venue as well. We'll get into the venue here in a little bit, I guess. I'm jumping all over the place. Yeah, I don't know. And then, as you said, they do a bunch of other music, not just Linkin Park or Hans Zimmer, but they have like ballet. They do a bunch of classical music that they're trying to I think they call it like democratize or something like that, where they're basically, I think that's
Is that what they said? Oh,
I don't
okay.
know.
But basically, they turn other any music into like classical music.
Yeah, I think the whole point, and even when they came up on stage and talked, the man that was playing, and last night the performance was, the quartet that was playing was I always say Metropolitan, but that's wrong. It's the Metropolis String Quartet here in Chicago. But it's like they were saying that they were trying to bring classical music and make it more accessible and available to other people, because I'm not a big classical fan. I like classical music. Growing up, that was like my first love of music was through classical music. And I've been to a few orchestras and classical performances. We were going to go a few years ago to see a Beethoven piece played by the Chicago Orchestra when they were celebrating Beethoven.
Yeah.
But tickets were insanely expensive.
They were really expensive.
I want to say over $100 for the cheapest seats.
$260.
Was it really?
Yeah, it was a lot. But maybe that was for 2 tickets. I can't remember, but it was a lot of money.
Yeah. So I think this is a good way to make it accessible, cheaper for the average person who might be interested in it or want to go check it out. So I thought that was really cool.
Yeah.
Getting into the tickets real quick, we already said it was at Stan Mansion. There were 3 sections of tickets, A, B, and C sections. We got the cheapest section, $33, which there were no fees, but on your receipt that you sent me, there was they were all combined, the total. So I just threw it in tax. There was $3.38 in tax per ticket as well, roughly in there.
Yeah, and to explain... Oh, sorry.
Go ahead.
Oh, I was going to explain, the ticketing. So it wasn't a very large venue. I mean, if you think about a house and then, having... They took, basically all the rooms out of it. So then you have this big open room that you have for weddings. So, that size of a room... Well, that doesn't really make sense.
No.
I'm just trying to explain. It's not that big of a room. And then they had, the 3 sections. So the A section was close to the stage. B section was kind of the middle, and then C was in the back.
Yep.
And then they also had 2 balcony sides where the A section was the front of the balcony, and then B, and then C was in the back of those as well.
Yeah, we can throw up this little seat map we have right here of it too. The balconies on either side of the stage, so stage left, stage right, had their own little balcony, quote unquote. It's just sort of this raised up section with pillars holding it up, which is where we ended up sitting. I thought it'd be really cool to sit there. The view wasn't the greatest. The floor probably would have been a better view for sure.
But it was okay. I mean,
it wasn't bad. It wasn't bad. All I could see was the viola and the cello, so I couldn't see anybody else.
Oh, see, I couldn't see the cello, but I could see the violins and the viola.
The cello was like right in the middle, so you
But-
missed this viola too.
No, I could see the viola. I could see the people standing, but the cello
Oh,
sitting
because he
down.
was sitting down.
Yeah, I couldn't see
Gotcha.
him.
Okay.
Yeah.
See, on the ground, the floor level I think would have been better because you're down and the stage is elevated. So even though you're sitting behind people and the taller people, you're going to have them in the way. They're only going to block off the performers' like knees. So maybe all of the cello as well there you would have missed. But I only saw 2/4 of the quartet playing. You saw 3/4 of them play.
Yeah. But, oh well, I mean, we talked about if we do another one, we would get the A section just so you can be.
So I was thinking about that too, because I'm looking at these tickets. C section we paid $33 for. Oh, this is a different one.
Yeah, it's a different.
This is the
price.
Candlelight to Adele.
Yeah.
All right. I thought I found the prices for.
It was
this
$33. We paid $33 per ticket.
We did, but
but you want to see how much it is for the.
Here it is, because they're still up for the Hans Zimmer one. Yeah, so for some reason it's the day after.
This is a different date.
Oh, okay.
So.
Is it really? Okay. Where's
Okay.
this at? Stan Mansion again. Interesting. They're doing it again. That's awesome. $33 for Zone C, $50 for Zone B, and then $59.50 for Zone A.
That's why I chose Zone C.
I mean, if we do this again, honestly, we talked about doing like Zone A. I'd be fine with Zone C, honestly.
Just sit on the floor.
Yeah, just sit on the floor next time.
Yeah.
$60 for getting rail seats, basically. You don't need to be on the rail for this performance.
And it was only an hour. I mean, we'll get to it, but it was only like an hour long.
It was only an hour long, yeah.
Yeah, so $60 for an hour performance is kind of.
Again, though, like that's cheaper than going to see an actual orchestra.
It is, yeah.
So you get that classical music, that classical feel for sure, which is awesome, but still pretty pricey for an hour performance. Considering the type of shows we typically go to for live music, where you get 3 openers or 2 openers and a headliner.
Yeah.
3-4 hours of fun for $40. So I don't know, even more like $60 to $100 or something. And that to me that seems reasonable.
Yeah, but sometimes we get all that for $25.
Also that,
so,
yeah.
I mean,
this does seem a bit steep for a price, but $33 I think is a good sweet spot for me personally.
I wonder if I added the cancellation when I bought them, and that's why there was an extra $3.
Oh, maybe
charge.
Interesting. All right.
It probably automatically puts it on there, and I didn't notice.
I didn't see that either.
Anyways, that's a different story. But
yeah, let's get into the venue a little bit. We didn't talk a whole lot about this before getting into the performance. The venue, as we said, was in Stan Mansion up in Wicker Park.
Yeah, so it's like a what do they call that? Like a not brownstone, but like a graystone.
Oh, graystone. Those are considered graystones. Okay.
Yeah.
Just this big stone mansion.
Yeah.
2 lots worth in Chicago. Lot and a half.
Maybe a lot and a half.
Because
I don't know about
more
up
rooms
there.
off to the side.
Well, yeah, because I'm not sure how that all goes together. Because like when you walk through the gate, there's also another mansion like right next to another house. I'm gonna say mansion because they're pretty big.
Right to the right.
Yeah, but that looked like a house. Like
that looked like it was attached almost. Or
was there was a you could tell that they're like so close, but it's a different building.
Because that had the cat.
Yeah.
Cat tree in it. See, I thought that was the same. Walking up, I didn't look too closely. I assumed that was the same because the yard was shared too.
That's what I'm saying. Like I don't know how the lots work. Like if somebody like way back when bought 2 lots together and then built those 2 buildings.
Okay.
Like I don't know how that all works.
I assumed walking up because the yard was together and everything that we're walking straight up. This is going to be the patron entrance where we're going to go up and go into the venue, and then that other side was either like the offices space for the venue. When they have weddings, that's where their changing rooms and stuff are going to be. That's what I assumed that house was, but it definitely could have been a second house. I didn't look too closely.
Yeah,
at it,
it looked like a real house. So,
it did, but I mean, you can have an office cat. That'd be awesome. Anywho, walk up, staff super friendly, super nice, helping you in. You scan your ticket, you go up to the top of the floor where, go up the stairs to the second floor, third floor, whatever floor it is. I don't know. And then there's sort of a large hall for concessions and bar, basically.
Yeah.
And then you go into the describing this weird.
There's 2 rooms with a hall in between.
Yeah, so once you get to the landing at the top of the stairs, to your left is where the venue section is going to be, where you go to sit and see the performance at this performance anyway. And then to your right, that's where that concession area is going to be.
Which is like a bar in the back, and then like a couple seating areas and stuff. Yeah.
You walk straight in, and straight ahead of you is the stage. You're sort of going down the aisle of the seats. I think I can't remember exactly.
Yeah. There was an aisle. Yeah.
And then at the two balconies we mentioned earlier, to the left and to the right, and like I said, we set up there. Candles were along the aisles, I want to think, and on the stairs going up to the balcony, and on this at the beginning of each section of seats, and then on the stage there were a bunch of other candles of different heights and whatnot, but not real candles, probably for safety reasons.
Yeah. I think the one next to or in the row ahead of us got kicked over like 4 times.
Yeah.
So if it was a real candle, that could be bad.
Yeah. Well, walking up, I thought they were oil candles, honestly. And it's like, oh, that makes sense. That way, because I had wondered, like, aren't these going to melt as the performance goes on? And then we walked up and I looked down. It's like, oh, it's an oil candle. That makes sense. But then when we sat in our seats and looked down at them, it's just a little plastic fake candle with a light in it. That it's either one of those flickering lights, or there's a little motor thing in there with a wick that the wick goes back and forth.
That's making it flicker. But it was, I mean, it makes it look really cool, like really realistic. Even though that they're electric candles.
I was going to ask you, because I noticed throughout the performance, as I would look up at the ceiling or look over to the side, that you'd see not like a flash, but I saw like a little glint of the flicker of light on the ceiling or on the walls. And I was like, oh, that's actually really cool.
Yeah, on the back you could see it a lot, like on the back wall or whatever, you could see a lot. But I think that's how you kind of know that it's all electric, because the shadow is like the same the whole time. And it's not like if you have a regular candle, you can see that
it's going to be
moves.
dancing around a little bit more.
Yeah.
But it was kind of a cool effect. I did see myself from time to time looking at the ceiling or the walls to take a look at that and see what was going on there.
Yeah.
When the performance started, the members came out. I don't know if they're a band or an orchestra.
A quartet.
A quartet. There we go. That's what they are.
We're so used to saying the band.
The quartet comes out with their instruments, takes their spots. The lights dim, and then all you have is that candlelight to light the performance. There was so much candlelight on stage that it lit them up pretty well, I would say.
Oh, yeah. And then they had their little lights on their music.
Yeah, on their stands to see the music. By the end of it, I don't know if this is the time to bring it up or not, but by the end of it, I did feel like the candlelight aspect of it was a bit gimmicky. I thought it was really cool, but it did feel a little gimmicky toward the end, and just like, all right, after like 20 minutes or so, I was like, all right, I'm over the candlelight aspect of it. I care more about the music and the candlelight aesthetic, and the feel of it is sort of, it doesn't add as much weight to me at that time. If that makes sense what I'm saying.
Yeah, I get what you're saying. I guess I never had a thought either way. It's cool, but I think I would see the performance even if it wasn't candlelight. Is that what you're trying to get at?
I think so, yeah, because we want to go back again, especially for that Linkin Park one.
Yeah.
Want to check that out.
I don't see it on any city list, so maybe they're just not doing it right now. But
yeah, hopefully they bring it back.
Yeah.
Or something along that lines of any sort of metal or rock artist. Because you mentioned, I don't know if you mentioned it yet, but the Adele, they're doing, this same quartet is doing an Adele performance at the end of February at the Music Box Theater here in Chicago.
And Coldplay.
And Coldplay after. Yeah, it's like an hour of Adele, then a break, then an hour of Coldplay.
Yeah. For 2 separate performances. So if you want to go,
you have to buy both tickets.
2 separate performances, yeah.
The Music Box Theater is one of my absolute favorite theaters in Chicago.
Yeah.
They've got a 70 millimeter projector, so you can see, like, that's where The Hateful Eight, when Quentin Tarantino released it to theaters, he only took it to a few theaters if they had a 70 millimeter projector, and this was one of the theaters that had it. They brought Inception back and played that in 70 millimeter.
Oh yeah, I forgot about that. Yeah.
So I went to go see that. Oppenheimer as well in 70 millimeter. So, like, it's a great viewing experience, but also it's this old, I don't want to say rundown because it's not rundown, but it's this old theater where it's the old seats, that not stadium seating.
No. But the seats are run down and old.
They're old. I wouldn't say run down. Like, they still function as seats.
Yeah. You can feel the seat through the cushion.
Yeah, I love it. It's so great. It's such a fun experience to go. I've
only went once, and it was to see
Kevin Smith
with what's the movie that Jane
yeah,
Silent Bob Strike Back or
yeah,
something?
the second one
Yeah.
for Jane Silent Bob.
Yeah, so we went for that, which was really cool because there is like a stage plus a movie theater or like a screen. So like there was a screen and then organ player, right?
Oh shit! I think you're right. There was an organ
Yeah.
player. So I know for Quentin Tarantino for Hateful Eight, he wanted that experience to be like an old school movie experience, and in that movie there was an actual intermission part,
Oh, okay.
and leading up to it, where you would typically have uh, trailers going on, it was just an organist up there playing the organ, playing the
Yeah.
music for Hateful Eight, which is how movies used to be done back in the day, apparently.
See, I feel like for Kevin Smith they had an organ player as well.
No, I forgot. Yeah,
Okay.
I forgot about that.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then like he was able to come out and like talk. Kevin Smith was anyways. But we're talking, I mean, yeah. But that's a really cool experience. I think that's February 28th.
It is, and I can't go to
Chicago.
it. We can't go to it, which
Yeah.
unfortunate. It would be a blast, but it kind of is a good segue into this because it's all about Hans Zimmer.
Yeah,
and
that's true. In
they-
movies.
and they did play Inception.
This would be really cool to do a music box for the movies.
So I was going to bring that up too. I saw Inception there. Their first song they opened with was an Inception piece, Time, which we can pull up that. Do we want to go over the set list all right now or sort of go through
We
each
can probably go
song?
through it because there's only one performance. So it's a little bit different than doing a normal concert performance.
Yeah.
So we can kind of talk about each each section a piece, or like how they did them in like little sections.
Then they opened with Time from Inception. Fuck that up like 4 times trying to say that. Probably gonna get cut out, but whatever. They opened with
I should leave them all in there.
they opened with just like whatever. And I love that piece. I love that movie so much. It's such a powerful emotional piece for me when I hear it. Felt very, very weird as your opener to have that because I view that as sort of sad song. Or I always get more on the sad side of the scale when I hear that song because I always think of the movie and the scenes, and the one scene in particular where Dom is holding Maul and she's saying, "But you said we'd grow old together."
Yeah.
And it cuts back to them in limbo the first time they were there, and up to that point in the movie, you always see them as young as we see them in the movie. But at that point, you see them from a distance as old people, and it ends with them holding their hands the way they always hold their hands, as old, wrinkly hands.
Yeah.
And it's like, oh shit, because then he's like, "But don't you remember we did?" And like that music's playing, and like whenever I hear that song, I think of that scene, and it's just sort of a sad feeling for me, which is a weird fucking way to start a show, is with a sad opener.
Yeah. Like a very slow, sad song. Yeah.
But I love the song. I'm glad they started with that. Well, glad they started with it, but I'm glad they included that.
Yeah. I guess like thinking of how the shows we normally see, which are normally metal shows, like if they have a slower song, like more heartfelt song, it's normally in the middle to give like a break.
Yeah.
A little lull break where this is kind of different to have it right at the beginning.
Definitely a different structure in terms of a live performance because, as you said, a lot of the shows we go to are a lot heavier and faster. You're going to have a lot more moshing. The crowd's going to go into it. So having that slower song in the middle is a great way for the crowd to like, all right, let's take a breath. Let's recover a little bit before we start kicking each other in the face again.
Yeah. Like I'm thinking, I shit on Disturbed concerts so much, but they kind of go heavy, and then they have their like Sound of Silence, A Reason to Fight, and everything like in the middle, and then they end heavier.
I thought the exact same thing because I was like, "There's no way Disturbed would open with Sound of Silence."
No,
they're
that'd be
opening
really cool.
with Get Ready. They could even open with The Sickness if they wanted to, but that's their closer. But that'd be awesome as an opener as well. It gets you in the mood. It gets you ready for what you're gonna go through. And then, but that's when that middle piece, I thought the exact same thing.
Yeah.
I don't know exactly where throughout this performance, again, it's probably about 20, 30 minutes in, when the candlelight aspect of it started to wear off on me. But I did think about what you mentioned earlier of in this being done in the movie box with the movies. If it would have been better, the overall performance would have been better without the candlelights, but with the movie scenes behind them.
Yeah, Yeah, that'd be kind of a cool experience to have like the trailers like silent,
Yeah.
but like playing behind them while they played the song.
But then I wonder if I would get more distracted and focus more on the visual,
movie.
the movie, than I do the actual music itself.
Yeah, that's true.
Where
this is kind of, you have to focus on the artist.
Yeah. So that was just one aspect I thought about. Like, this is all movies. It's easy to do a component to this as well. Because, again, for me, the Candlelight sort of wore off and felt kind of gimmicky toward the end. If we go again, I'm not going because it's Candlelight. I would go
to hear the music.
If this quartet is like, we're going to be doing music in the park, we're going to be doing our quartet at XYZ venue, no Candlelight, just dim lights or whatever, I'll probably still show up for that. So
I get what you're saying. I feel the same way, where I would rather go just for the live music than, for the Candlelight aspect or the. I don't know. I felt like they kept going back to like it was a romantic night or something.
So this was right around Valentine's Day. So I wonder if it
yeah.
was promoted as sort of like, because if even on the website for where you can book these tickets, they have like a whole Valentine's themed section.
Oh,
so I think they're all supposed to be like.
I mean, they have them all year round, though.
They do,
so,
but I think it's more like to promote it for that.
Maybe. Was it after Inception that? Sorry, I forgot all of their names, but when she started talking about coming out and seeing live music and.
Yeah, it was after Time that we had our first sort of speaking interaction with the members of the quartet. I can't remember their names either. The first woman all the way on the left, or I guess stage right, she would have been stage right. Played the violin.
Yeah.
Came out and started speaking, saying thanks for coming out to live music. Talked about the song a little bit. First asked like, all right, who knows what that's from? And there were a handful of people who shouted out like, this is Inception. Yeah. Obviously Hans Zimmer, but Zimmer. But I know going into it, you had asked like, you were like, I wonder what it's going to be like. It's all going to be quiet and no like interaction, or if they're going to come out there and speak. And there was our answer right away.
Yeah, which they didn't speak that much, but I mean, every couple songs, I think that they came out and spoke. But I guess something that she brought up that I was like, oh, this is true. This is why we are recording this podcast, because it is live music. Like it's not. And one thing that she said is with the Hans Zimmer performances and other performances as well, but it's taking electric music and doing it in a classical way. So they had to come up with the sounds of all these electric instruments using 2 violins, a cello, and a viola.
Yeah, they brought up.
I don't know if it was during that speech, but
was. Yeah, I can't remember.
Yeah,
so
it doesn't really matter.
Each member of the quartet got a speaking part where they'd introduce the next songs, talk about the next songs a little bit, and some other things too. One of the individuals like introduced all the band members and whatnot, the quartet members.
It's okay.
And
we'll interchange that word, quartet and band.
Yeah, I do remember her talking during her segment. I think it was her who brought this up, but that Hans Zimmer has done over 150 movie
scores. Yeah.
Scores. And when you think about that, there's another famous movie producer of music. I don't know what to call them, like composers, musicians who make music for movies, scores and whatnot. John Williams, who did Star Wars. I think he did Jaws as well. He's done a fuck ton of shit as well.
Did she bring him up?
She did, I think, because she brought him up as he primarily does classical type, only strings, only XYZ, like, with an orchestra. That when you think of classical music, that's what you think of. Hans Zimmer, sorry, I always fuck that up, is slightly different, where he does include those electrical synthesized instruments as well. And that's where she's bringing up, I think, as you were saying, you have to find a way to make that same sound with those instruments.
Yeah. So when she said that, I was like, oh, that's what Apocalyptica does. Like they have 4 cellos.
Yeah.
I mean, and a drum.
And sometimes a guitar.
And sometimes, yeah. But like when we saw them live, it was just 3 cellos, really, because one of them wasn't there. And then the drum kit, and it's like they have to make up the whole, like, think when they do Metallica.
Their Metallica album.
Yeah. So they have to kind of come up with all those sounds of a bass, of a electric guitar and everything, and like mold that with just cellos.
Yep.
So I mean, sorry, I'm bringing this back to metal music, but when she said that, I immediately thought of Apocalyptica and what they do. And I'm like, oh, it's true. When you take electric music and do it in a classical way, you have to come up with those sounds somehow.
Yep.
So,
but then the other part of her little speech or her little talk was also introducing the next two songs, which were Lion King and Madagascar. And she brought up a little funny bit like, wait, Lion King, I know what you're thinking. That was Elton John. She's like, well, he did a couple songs, but he didn't do all of them. Hans Zimmer also wrote some. So we get The Land from The Lion King, which is the beginning. I don't know. Oh, no, I think that's when Mufasa dies.
yeah, I think it's when like they're running or like, yeah, like the part that I remember is like, gosh, I haven't seen The Lion King for so long, but where like they're all running down the canal or is that a canal?
Yeah, like the
land.
The little, I don't know what's called, the divot between the two lands.
Yeah.
Like canyon. The canyon.
Yeah. And then it's after, like when Mufasa dies, and then afterwards, that's all that song.
Because I picked it up and I was like, oh wait, I think that's when Mufasa dies.
Yeah.
Which throughout the movies I have seen, I was definitely, oh, that's from this scene. I was trying to pick the scene out and whatnot. And I think you mentioned the same thing coming home.
On the way home, like it was very hard for me to picture what was being played and where it is in the movie. And I spent a lot of time trying to do that. And then finally I was just like, let me just listen to the music, because I was like really trying to identify where it placed into the movie.
Yeah, there's pieces where I can definitely do that they played, and it's like, all right, that's this scene in the movie. I remember this piece. And there's other movies or shows that were played that I was like, I don't remember what the fuck that's from or where that's at. But that was a little game I was playing personally. I was like trying to figure out what the scene was as well.
Yeah. Have you seen Madagascar?
I have not seen Madagascar, so Time and The Land are the two I could definitely pick up. Then Madagascar played. It's like I have no fucking clue what
I don't
this
know
is.
That. I feel like I've seen Madagascar,
I think you have.
I've played, like I've watched it, but gosh, I don't remember it at all. So.
Yeah, don't really remember that piece as much either. It was good, I guess.
Yeah.
It didn't hit for me because I hadn't seen the movie and didn't really care. So which is weird. I did care. I did enjoy the music, but it's like.
You didn't have any thought to it.
Yeah, exactly. Just sit and enjoy.
Yeah. Then we get to the superhero. Oh, no. Sorry. Then we get to the war music.
Yeah, so we get our next presenter. I can't remember who this was.
It was a cello guy.
Was it the cello guy?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. He presented the next four. So it was the war and then the superheroes.
Okay. Yeah. I didn't think he was the next four, but.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
He was.
And we start with Dunkirk. We didn't say, though, for Madagascar, the song was Zooster's Breakout.
Yeah.
Dunkirk is...
I don't know who Zooster is, so...
Yeah, I don't know either. Dunkirk was Supermarine. Dunkirk's a movie you haven't seen.
I haven't seen it, no.
I love that movie again. Talking a lot about movies. Another Christopher Nolan movie. Christopher Nolan's now got, what, 1, 2, 3... Just 3?
4. Interstellar.
Oh, Interstellar. 4 songs on here. Yeah, anyway, whatever. Dunkirk, I love that movie. It's really good. You never really see the enemy necessarily. You see a silhouette of a Nazi at the end, but otherwise you hear the sounds of the plane. You see the other planes, but you don't see like individual people, right? You know there's somebody in that plane that they're fighting. But there's so much suspense and anxiety built on the back of the music, honestly, and the sound. And definitely listening to this, and they brought that up when they were playing this, that like there's some very suspenseful sounds that came out of this, and I definitely picked up on it when they were playing this.
Me too. And I've never seen it, and I was like, oh, this is obviously from like a fighting scene or something,
right?
Like, of combat happening.
Yeah, and there's really, thinking about the movie, it's been a while since I've seen it. There's not a whole lot of like close up combat. There's definitely a lot of suspense being built. You'll see stuff blow up and whatnot from the planes dropping bombs on the beach, but you're still building up that suspense without like this typical sort of war movie that you'd have where two people on either side shooting at each other type thing.
Mm-hmm.
Great piece to include as well. Then we get to The Pacific, which is the follow-up to Band of Brothers on HBO, but based on the Pacific front of the war, theater of the war. Honor. I have not seen this show. I saw like one episode when it first came out.
Okay, yeah, I was gonna say like I remember watching it. Unless Grandpa watched it. I don't know. For some reason, I remember watching it.
Yeah. But I don't. This was another piece that I couldn't place and think about.
But you could tell from the music. I mean, just they told us that it's from Pacific, and it's from a war scene.
Yep.
So to me, from the music, and granted, I don't know where it's placed either, but it almost seems like after the war, or like maybe like at the end of a battle, or after something happened, and like they're going through like scenes of like it being done. That's how I took it, just from the emotion of the music.
Of the piece.
Could be totally wrong, and it could be from something else, but that's how I took it.
And I think that's a good thing you brought up, is that like you can feel the music, and sometimes you can just listen to it and feel the music. It really helps me sometimes to have somebody explain, like, all right, this piece is about, especially for classical music, this piece is about X, Y, Z. So I know what to sort of expect or what to look for going into it. Again, you can listen to it the first time through and you can find those yourselves, but having somebody else, like, the composer really wanted you to feel this.
Yeah.
I do find that helping a lot. And as we mentioned earlier, like, the whole point of these Candlelight is to sort of bring classical music to make it more accessible and easily attainable for people.
Or just a different audience.
Or a different audience, yeah.
I understand what you're saying with accessible and, obtainable by price and everything that we talked about at the beginning, but also just bring it to a different audience. Like, I think that's how it'd be like if we went to see Linkin Park. I'm not much of a let's go see classical music, but if they're playing Linkin Park, and that's how I found out about him, is from that performance.
And I guess also what I was trying to say, though, is that there are still people making traditional classical music out there today. Composers out there doing that. I don't really know them. I don't seek this music out. There's an audience out there that 100% does seek this out and listens to it and loves it. And great for you. That's awesome. That's your thing. I would still gravitate more towards like not the originals, but like the old motherfuckers like Beethoven, Bach. That
you went from saying originals to the old motherfuckers.
Well, they're old as shit now. Like, yeah.
I just thought that was so funny how you explained that.
But the whole point, right? Like, classical music is still being written. There's still classical music out there. But for the average person, I would say they don't really know about that or seek that out. However, every movie you see, every show you see, there's some musical component to it in the background that you don't really pick up on. And a lot of that, in my mind, is classical music or a classical styling of music. That I know they said Hans Zimmerman isn't a traditional classical music composer and whatnot, but he's closer to it than any band that we go to see.
Oh, yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So I still sort of lump
except for Pot.
Yeah, maybe. But I still sort of like lump him in that category or just adjacent to that category. Yeah. And it's really cool for people to understand that, like, this type of music is still being written and you enjoy it and you just don't know it because it's in the background of the Avengers movie. And
you're just not hearing it. Yeah.
You're hearing it, but
you're not picking it up. Yeah. I get what you're saying.
So to like listen to that music again without the visuals, again, I brought that up of it'd be really cool to have the visuals, but it is kind of cool to not have the visuals and think about, all right, what scene was this in? Or how's this make me feel when I hear this music? I don't know. It's a different way to consume that music that you've seen and heard 100 fucking times because you've watched The Dark Knight 100 goddamn times by now. Which is our next song, actually.
Yep.
The Dark Knight from The Dark Knight, another Christopher Nolan movie.
This one I was really trying to like pick up on the scene that was happening in the movie, and I think I got more caught up in that than listening to the music.
Yeah, a little bit for me. I was actually thinking that, this song is really good. It fits this movie really well. And I was thinking about it late into the night last night because I went back and watched music for this as well as for the new Batman movie, The Batman. And I really loved the new Batman movie better than this piece. But again, that one fits that movie so well. This fits this movie so well. And at this point now I'm getting into which Batman movie music do I like most and not just like appreciating this particular piece of music. Which is really weird for like as like a fanboy of like, oh, but this Batman movie's better for XYZ. This one's better though. But the music here is a little better. Like, you can't switch those music out for those movies. It really does fit that movie.
Yeah. So was this song the beginning song that's played?
So.
Or is it in two places in the movie?
So I was going to bring that up too. That with movie composition or movie music, it really. I don't think it's the composer who gets to choose when the music is played. It's like we wrote a piece of music, and then as the editor, we're gonna put that music in this part. So
yeah, so I'm asking you, where was this in the movie?
it was throughout the movie.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because like I was picturing it at the beginning.
Yep.
And then also like when they're going down in Chicago, it's down LaSalle by the bank and everything. Is it in that part too?
I think so.
Okay,
but
because those are the two places that I was picturing it.
Right, but at the same time, it's one piece of music that is cut and like this
that's
third of it. No, but that's what I'm
yeah.
saying. It's really weird to consume music as that way, or like I'm gonna listen to the last third of this at the first part of the movie.
Oh, I see what you're saying.
You know what I mean?
I wasn't meaning it that way. I was just trying to picture where it was.
No, I get what you're saying. Yeah,
movie.
but like I was thinking of that while watching this performance as well. Of this is during this scene and over here, or this little bit is here, here, and here. It was a weird way to consume music as a moviegoer to then find out like, it's actually one whole piece that's been chopped up and put all over the fucking place.
I see what you're saying. Okay.
Yeah, I don't know. That's what I was thinking.
Okay. Yeah, that's fine.
Yeah,
no,
no,
it's
no,
fine.
no,
Yeah, nothing about it.
But yeah, super fucking enjoy it. I love The Dark Knight. Like I said, I've seen it probably 100 times by now. I don't know.
Oh, yeah.
I watch it all the fucking time.
I've seen it so many times.
So, yeah, just getting to see that, and it was fun. I enjoyed that bit a lot. Then we get to Wonder Woman, and this is where, going into this section, they were talking about time signatures, and that it's either a 4 count or a 3 count.
Yeah, for classical music, yeah.
Or most music, really.
Or most music, yeah.
But Wonder Woman, Hans Zimmer did it in a 7 count.
In 7 count, yeah.
And it's the main Wonder Woman theme that you can think of the movie and think of the song. Like it's that. I'm not going to try to.
That right there?
Yeah, that right there. Yeah, I'm not even going to try to do it.
No,
but
that's fine.
You could pick that up and you could definitely figure out. Like, I'm not really good at counting music, like 1, 2, 3, 4.
Yeah. I was trying. I think I said that in the Uber on the way home. Like, I was trying really bad to, like, try to figure out, like, how do you count to 7? Or, like, how does the 7 count come in? And then I realized, I was like, okay, so if I figure out where the 1 is and then do 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, then I could do it, but I couldn't do, like, in my head, I couldn't do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and then start over.
It'd be a 4, 3, 4, 3, 4, 3.
Yeah. That's how I finally was able to do it at the end. I learned how to count in 8s, so that makes most sense to me. Well, actually, I learned how to count music in 4s and then dance to music in 8s. So.
Okay.
I know. I'm just saying.
No, I know. Yeah. Then we get our next speaking part where we get introduced to the Gladiator song, or Gladiator Suite is the song, and then from Interstellar, which is
Cornfield Chase.
Which is Cornfield Chase from Interstellar.
Yeah. And then he told a little fun thing about the cornfield, that it was a real cornfield and they harvested it after.
Yeah, I mean, I assumed it was a real cornfield.
I know, me too.
I just assumed they rented it from a farmer somewhere, that they didn't actually grow it themselves.
Yeah, I never had a thought that it was like CGI or whatever. So.
Yeah, but apparently they grew their own cornfield and then harvested afterward and sold it to help fund the movie, which is, I guess, a smart way to do it. Better than renting, I guess, but you have to rent the land. I don't fucking know.
Yeah, I don't know how that works.
Anywho, that was before we get to Gladiator.
Honestly, I was hoping... So I knew that they were going to play an Interstellar song, and I was really hoping that it was going to be the song that's like when the thing's spinning.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. I was like, that would be really cool to...
That's like a definitely intense sort of...
It is, yeah. That's why I wanted to hear was like the intense part.
That would fit really well in, I think, with the Dunkirk, because both of those are sort of super high and intense and whatnot.
Yeah.
But I get like that section was the war themed and superhero themed. This is, I guess, a different
sci-fi.
Sci-fi and fantasy. I don't know, because it's Gladiator, which is some sort of historical, but it's all fake as well.
Yeah, I don't know.
I don't know. But Gladiator was "Now We Are Free," I think is the name of the song that was played. It's when basically Maximus dies.
Yeah, I think so.
And then he's like being carried out and whatnot. It's again another powerful moving piece, and one I was definitely thinking about the movie where it fit in. I'll bring up Gladiator later when we talk about the pirates, because I have some issues there with Hans Zimmer and myself, or some not issues but confliction and whatnot.
No, I know where you're going with that, because I think the same thing.
Yeah, but in any case, then we get to Interstellar, and they talked about the cornfield chase, so I knew where that was, but it's been a while since I've seen the movie.
Yeah, we haven't watched it for a long time.
That I don't know.
It's at near the beginning.
Yeah. Oh, and then we also got introduced to the Dune Suite as well for this section, because it was sort of the presentation before this section started was we're leaving the water world of Interstellar, or the water world that they were on in Interstellar, to Dune, which is a desert world.
A desert, yeah.
And Dune was a movie I've seen. I loved the movie. It was great from a visual and from a sound standpoint. The new one's coming out soon, which I want to go see in theaters. The last one I didn't. But even though I loved it, I've only seen it the once, and I can't pick up the scenes that this piece was from.
Yeah, I don't think I've ever seen Dune, so I don't.
And so I didn't just sat back and enjoyed the music and whatnot.
Yeah.
Good little piece there too.
So it's either I think it was the Dune suite, but one of the other violinist from Spain was saying that when he has a bad day at work, he comes and listens to that. I'm pretty sure it was the Dune suite.
Oh, really?
Yeah, you don't remember that part?
I don't remember that part.
Because he was like, yeah, when I have like a really long day at work or a really long, I think it was him that said, anyways, somebody said, and I'm pretty sure, because I said it was the song before Sherlock Holmes, so it must be the Dune suite, because I put it in like little notes. But he basically was like, yeah, when I have a really long day at work or it's just been a tough day, I go home, I listen to that song, and it just brings me back, or it like clears my mind and it brings me back or whatever. And when that was said, I was like, this is what you listen to when you have a hard day? Like, I mean, it's just funny how like different music to different people does different things. Because like when I have a hard day, I'm like, I need the heaviest, fastest music to listen to. But then also when I was telling the person that does my hair that when I'm like really depressed or really anxious or whatever, I listen to this or like listen to metal music, and she's like, but doesn't that make you more anxious? And I'm like, no, it like takes the anxiety away. So it's just so weird how music does different things to different people. That's why I wanted to bring up, anything about this music, but it's like, if I listened to classical music when I was like, I need, like when I was so anxious or like people were talking or something, like something was happening, it would not help.
Yeah.
Where like
metal music for you helps, but for somebody else, classical is more soothing and calming.
Yeah.
For their anxiety and whatnot. Yeah. Good points. That.
Okay.
No, I don't know how to transition. Very good points. You're very right. That like music. You're right. Music for different people has different effects. It's cool to go out and experience the different music and just find out if it's something you enjoy or how it's going to affect you emotionally, because you never know until you actually go out and try. And I don't know. This was definitely a fun experience. We'll talk about that at the end. Definitely a fun experience and definitely worth it. But you did bring up Sherlock Holmes, and we already talked about the Gladiator Suite. I think so. We're looking at the website.
Were these switched around?
I think they were.
Okay, that makes more sense. So I think it's the Gladiator Suite is what the guy listens to.
Yeah. So I think after Dark Knight we get the Interstellar and Dune, and then the next person comes out to introduce the last member of the quartet to introduce his section or their section, which was the Gladiator Suite that we already talked about.
Okay, that makes more sense in my mind. So that's what he listens to.
Yeah.
Okay, because I was like, I don't think it was Dune.
And then Sherlock Holmes.
Yeah.
Which I thought was really weird, because when they came out to do their first, when they came out to do their introduction, they started with talking about Sherlock Holmes. And when that piece of music was played during the fight scene, when Sherlock Holmes is fighting, is doing the analysis in his head, like, first I'm going to punch him in the ribs, then I'm going to break his hand and punch him in the nose or whatever section of it. Then we're going to go into Gladiator, and we're going to talk about Gladiator and when we were free type thing, and this big epic, blah, 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 whatever he was saying. And then they start playing Gladiator. And I was like, wait, no, you said you were going to do Sherlock Holmes first. This isn't Sherlock Holmes. This is Gladiator. And then he goes into Sherlock Holmes, which definitely, it fit the time, it fit the character. And that's what the whole thing was the music doesn't only fit the scene or the style of movie, but also it can be written to fit particular characters.
Yeah.
And I guess Gladiator fit for that overall theme of music that fits a character. But for me, Sherlock Holmes definitely fit Sherlock Holmes, and that style of music, like, that made sense to me. That music fit that character. Gladiator, I could see it if I work on it a little bit, but Sherlock Holmes is a much better example of music fitting a character, in my opinion.
Yeah, I'd agree.
Then we go back to our first lady who came out and did the first little introductions. And she came out and said, you guys have been awesome. We have one more song for you. But if you are really good and really get into the music, we will do an encore. which was kind of weird to announce that you're going to do an encore because you're going to do it regardless. And this was the thing they talked about all night. Every presenter, basically, every member of the quartet, basically, when they had their little turn to speak, said the same thing of like, we really love hearing from you. We love when you guys applaud and cheer. It really helps us. It encourages us. We can't see you. It lets us know that you're enjoying it and you're having a good time, and it feeds off of us. And we've talked about that a lot of bands and musicians at live shows feeding off the crowd and the crowd feeding off the band. It's a cyclical sort of exchange and sort of environment that happens. For classical music and performances like this,
You don't see it?
I don't see that.
I kind of thought at first because I think she said that actually at the beginning about the whole, like, we perform better when you react, basically. I honestly think some people took that as, like, I'm going to scream certain things throughout the performance.
Well, in between songs, it happened. People would scream or cheer and whatnot, which is cool.
Yeah, not during the song. Yeah.
But not during the song. I took it as more she wanted it during the song.
But classical music, you don't really...
I know. It really...
like, clap or anything. Or, like, you don't really do anything in the middle.
It irks me when people do during it. Because I remember back in, like, elementary school in, like, 4th fucking grade where we had a whole section on classical music. And the teacher was telling us, you do not clap until the composer turns around and bows. Then you can clap. Up until that point...
Conductor.
The conductor. Up until that point, the performance is still going on. You are silent. And a part of that, it makes sense. Like, if there's a lull or a quiet moment in the composition of the music, that's there for a reason.
Yeah, you shouldn't be.
So don't be cheering and clapping during that. But people still do, because there's like a big rise. Like, we call it like a build up before the drop type thing. Like, the silence is the drop. And it's during that drop then that people are like, yeah, let's go. This is awesome. They don't do that. They clap and shit.
Yeah. But we see it a lot. So we try to go see the Nutcracker every year. Yeah. And that's with a live orchestra as well. And we see it during that where, like, there'll be, like, the end of the hype and then people will clap, but the performance is still going on. Right. And it's like, you don't clap.
It really pisses me off when it happens, honestly. Again, going back to, like, that 4th grade. I could be completely wrong. She could have been completely wrong. But I think that's how I kind of came up.
But I think that's what I've even seen. That's what I've seen too. I mean, I haven't been to that many, performances like this, but it is one of those things where you don't really do, like, it's silent. Like, the crowd should be completely silent until they are done, which they didn't have a conductor here, but it was like as soon as they dropped their violins, that's when everybody would clap.
Because you knew that piece was over. That piece of music was done. And then, all right, let's clap for Dark Knight, and then let's go on to the next piece.
Yeah. But I don't remember what I was going to say from that. I had something before we went into the whole staying silent thing, but
like the encore of her being, if you're really good, we'll do an encore.
Yeah. No, it wasn't about that. It was about the whole feeding off the energy thing.
Oh.
It was about the classical music part. And maybe this is what you were trying to say is, like, for classical musicians, like, you don't have that crowd movement, or you don't have even the cheering and stuff in the middle of the song, or, like, you don't have callbacks or callbacks, right? Or call outs.
Like the call and response.
Yeah. So you don't have that in that type of music. So for them, it is the clap at the end or the excitement at the end sort of thing. Where during metal shows, I mean, that's what we normally see is metal shows. You have the crowd movement. You have the cheering, the call outs, the everything like that. So, I mean. Yeah,
you have your popular songs where people know the lyrics. They start singing it. And if the crowd sings it louder than the singer, like, the singer has to, like, love that. And so does the band of, like, holy shit, our stuff is resonating with them. That's a different type of live performance than this is.
Yeah. So. But what I'm saying is for, like, the appreciation, or, like, how they were saying, like, oh, we feed off your energy. They really don't get that energy for the 5 to 7 minutes. It's at the end of the performance. That you actually get that energy. So I don't know. It's just, I'm not saying that, like, anything is bad about either one. It's, just, it has to be a different experience for the performer.
Yeah. And I was assuming that they were saying, well, when they first said it at the beginning of, we feed off your energy, make sure we can hear you type thing. I was afraid.
I knew he was going to do that.
I was afraid that would encourage people to sing or chant or say stuff during the middle of the piece. Which would have, again, irked me a little bit more. There were some fucking shit eaters around us that wouldn't stop talking during the performance.
And it's so weird because, I mean, this is quieter music and stuff, but it was like people were whispering.
Yes.
And I think that they thought, like, oh, if I whisper, nobody can hear me. This cat's being very needy. But yeah, like thinking that, like, you can't hear you whispering or whatever, but I'm like, yes. And if
very distracting.
If only one person's doing it, maybe you don't hear it, but I felt like 10, 20, 30 people were doing it, and
we were walking out and there was like a group of guys like, did you hear so-and-so? Would not shut up during it.
Yeah.
And I was like, God damn it, shut the fuck up.
Yes.
You're off your phone for an hour. It's fine. You can live. You will be fine. Like, God, we hear it all the time at normal shows that we go to, and it pisses us off whenever we hear it there too.
And that music's normally a little bit louder.
And also you have typically on the floor where we usually see shows, you have the mobility to move away from that if we wanted to.
Yeah.
Be a little distracting for us to start walking around to other seats. Like, fuck this. It's too loud over there. We're going to go sit over here in the aisle. Like, no, that's just not going to happen.
Okay, buddy. Sorry.
Anyhow, she came out and did that whole little talk into the last song of the evening, which was the Pirates of the Caribbean sort of melody.
That was really fun.
Not melody.
Melody.
Melody. I was gonna say what's it? Montage type of thing. Not a montage when you meld a bunch of shit together.
Oh.
Because the melody is like a musical term.
Oh, is it?
For how the music is sounding and whatnot. What's the word I'm looking for?
I would call it a melody because it's not like a full.
You're taking like
multiple songs and putting them together.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, that's what I would call it. Like when they, say Machine Head when they do the Slayer. Like, do you call that a Slayer melody?
No, there's something you call it. There's a different terminology for it. I can't think of what it is right now.
Yeah. The only thing coming to my mind is a melody. But I know what you're saying.
Not a montage because that's like in the movie and whatnot. Anywho, then they came out and they did their Pirates of the Caribbean little bit as well. Love this movie. Love these movies. Love this soundtrack or the composition, like these songs as well. It was a few years ago though, for Pirates of the Caribbean, like the big Jack Sparrow bits whenever he's doing something heroic and big and grandiose, his sort of main theme music comes through. And I heard that. I was like, I swear to God, I've fucking heard this before. And it took me a little while to place it, but it's from Gladiator.
Yeah.
It's the same fucking music between Gladiator and Pirates of the Caribbean. And not all of it's the same. And it's a little, I listened to it again last night. There's a YouTube video I watched where it's got both of them side by side and plays them one after another.
Yeah.
And they're a little bit different. There's a little bit more added to the Pirates of the Caribbean version of it. So it's like the Gladiator bit that came out first, honestly. The Gladiator bit that was released first seemed to be improved with the Pirates of the Caribbean bit. And I don't know how I feel about this.
But I don't think it's just Gladiator and Pirates of the Caribbean. Like, I've heard the Pirates of the Caribbean, gosh, I was going to say riffs, but like...
Well, it's like a riff, yeah.
That melody in other songs, and it's like... And I feel like is it in Inception? Is there a song that has that?
I don't think so.
No? It's something that we've watched. I was going to say recently. We haven't really watched anything recently. Anyways, but I've heard it before, and then that was kind of my thought when I think of Hans Zimmer, which I didn't know was Hans Zimmer, but like, it's like, oh, they're writing all this music or like producing all this music or whatever you want to say, but it's the same music just being
tweaked slightly.
Yeah, tweaked a little bit. It's to put into different movies.
Yeah, it's weird. Like you always see the copyright infringement. So artist A stole from artist B type of thing. Like I had my music out first and you basically took it. And there's been times in the past where, you know, that would happen and the artist who plagiarized, quote unquote, would listen to it and was like, oh shit, I had never listened to your song before and you're absolutely right. I came up with those same melodies, those same notes, and put them together. So yours came out first. I'm sorry, here's some royalties from my song that went big. And that's a little different because Gladiator and Pirates were both written by Hans Zimmer.
Yeah.
And it's sort of like, as you said, just you're copying yourself for your own music or you're reproducing your own music and whatnot. I did a little bit of research last night afterwards, which
So
was
you watched YouTube?
watched YouTube and looked at online forums. So hard-hitting data right there, sources as well, hard-hitting sources that sort of indicated for the first Pirates movie, Hans Zimmer kind of came in the last hour, not like literal last
Yeah, I
hour,
understand
but
what
at the
you're saying.
very end of the production of the music to replace the composer who was there before. Wrote everything in like super fucking quick time because he was super crunched on time to get it done and released it. So maybe it's possible that like, oh shit, I forgot I did that for Gladiator. That was a few years before, and I just sort of
Or this
reproduced
action
it.
scene's almost the same, or
Yeah, and
you
it sort
could
of
get the
fits.
same feeling. Yeah.
But I instantly go back to like the music we listen to, Disturbed, for instance, right? For The Sickness, that drum beat at the beginning. If they fucking took that same drum and put that in the middle of Bad Man or whatever fucking song they have out now, fans and people would look at them like, what the fuck? You're just
like, what the fuck are you doing?
recycling your music again?
Yeah.
And sure, there's some bands out there that people like, all your music sounds alike.
Well, Disturbed does, but
Sure, exactly. But I mean, it sounds alike, but it's also different.
yeah. But I get what you're saying. Like, if they did put that same,
Yeah.
like if they put that in a different song, like people would pick that up,
Yeah.
and it wouldn't be like. But I mean, I guess when I say all Disturbed music sounds alike, it's like the guitar riffs and the bass,
The structure of the song.
structure of everything is the same, and they have the same. Yeah, like every song's gonna have like a melody and then a hard part and then a melody, and
so it's really hard for me when Hans Zimmer basically plagiarizes himself.
Yeah. And I'm not saying that that's the case. I just I remember. I mean, this was before I even knew it was Hans Zimmer, so this is probably like 10 years ago or whatever. Like I was like, oh, I've heard that song before.
Yep,
like,
same.
Yeah.
The same reaction I had the first time I heard it, and I'm not saying it's bad. It's not good. It's just it's hard for whenever I hear the song, I instantly think of that, and I start like, ugh.
Yeah.
And then when I hear anything by Hans Zimmer, I instantly go to that and like, well, I don't know your entire catalog. Have you already done this before? I don't know if it's good or bad.
That's true. I mean, if he's done the scores for 150 movies, I mean, there could be multiple times that, because I think it's international movies. It's not just U.S. movies also. So it's like there could be something out there that's just a repeat.
Yeah, I don't know. I get torn on it a little bit of thinking if any other band did this, they'd get like eaten alive. But yet it's fine for Hans Zimmer to do it, and like maybe in movies themselves, like it's not only Hans Zimmer who does this; it's all over the place.
Yeah.
I don't know. I did see another video I watched. I think I showed it to you a while ago, where they took Hollywood movies and the composition, and John Williams was a big offender of this, where they played his movie music mainly from Star Wars, and they showed a composer who wrote classical music beforehand, and they overlaid them. And it's like almost identical.
Shit. Really?
Like the main Star Wars theme was sort of a ripoff, basically, of somebody else.
See, that's bad. Don't do that.
Right. This is you plagiarizing yourself with Hans. I don't know.
But no, what I was saying is like what that guy did, because.
Yeah. Any case, we came to an end. We got our encore because the crowd cheered really loud, stood up even, and we got more pirate music.
Yeah. And during that little bit, you could pull out your phone or.
Yes, you weren't allowed to do photos or videos.
Yeah.
But during this last song, you could do it, and it only lasted like a minute too.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, if even that. Yeah. The couple beside me though had their phone out.
Did they have it quite a bit?
A lot.
We've been to other shows where they say, "Do not use your phone,"
yeah.
and then there's people all over the place using their phone.
Yeah.
So
we just respect it. I mean, like when it's announced, and I knew that going in because I did read the frequently asked questions little thing, and I was like, oh, phones aren't allowed. So we discussed how we were gonna do this. Are you gonna post anything on social media?
We might. I haven't looked at the photos yet. You sent me some beforehand because we did some of the stage, the venue. We did this. I think the last time we saw a show like this was the Acoustic Wage War and somebody else show.
A Day to Remember.
Yeah, their show. And the same thing was announced, like, please do not take photos. We were at the Chicago Theater, so awesome venue, so we just took photos of the venue and posted that.
Yeah.
Same thing here, awesome venue. We got some photos of the band.
Yeah, that was one that they said no photos, no video, but everybody did it. Yeah. So I don't know. I don't want to say we're better than everybody else, but we just wanted to respect
try to respect the wishes of the performers for sure.
Yeah.
But you mentioned you had read that beforehand. Also beforehand, when you bought your tickets, it gave you a tentative program, which is, like I said, we had been reading off of. I like going into shows not knowing the set list.
Yeah.
And I think you do too.
Yeah, I do.
I purposely did not look this up, but I think you saw it. What are your thoughts about knowing the set list ahead of time?
Well, there's two things. One, that they announce the set list. I mean, granted, we think Gladiator and Dune were mixed or
just
flipped or whatever. Or is this a different one? Has that the actual songs?
So this is the Adele one. They have a tentative program for that as well of all the songs they'll play for Adele, which is, again, I don't like that. You're playing Hello. You know you're playing Rumor Has It. Set Fire to the Rain. Oh, Set Fire to the Rain. And Rolling in the Deep. Like, these are classic Adele songs that you know you're going to get. I don't like knowing it ahead of time, though.
Yeah. I mean, I guess, but yeah, when you buy your tickets, you have to look at, I guess you don't have to look at this, but.
Yeah. They were talking about this performance, like promoting it at last night's show when we saw the Hans Zimmer one. And they brought up, like, if you want to listen to a bunch of breakup songs, come do that. Then go get dinner and come back again for more breakup songs. Yeah. Looking at this, though, Hello, fucking slow, sad, goddamn song.
To start with?
Don't fucking start with something so slow. Start with Rolling in the Deep, something heavy and, like, uplifting. But Rolling in the Deep is, like, a classic closer for Adele, I think. Yeah. So it's really weird to see a performance start with something so soft and sad.
Yeah. Anyways, you asked. Sorry,
no, go ahead,
I agree with you on there, but you asked about seeing the set list beforehand. I did see it because, I mean, when I bought the tickets, it was listed right there. But then also, I mean, bands do this as well, where they're like, "Hey, this is the song I'm playing," or whatever. But this was done a little bit differently, where we were talking that one person would. So out of the quartet, like one person announced every few songs. So like, say when the cello guy was announcing the Dunkirk, Pacific, Super Batman, and then Superwoman, like Wonder Woman, excuse me. So when that was being announced, I was like, oh, so now I know the next 4 songs that you're gonna play. Like, cool, but cool. Yeah. I don't know. I just didn't really like that setup. I mean, that would be like Randy going up and being like, okay, so we're going to now play Lay to Rest and then 512 instead of
Walk
like
With Me in Hell.
Yeah,
these are the next 4 songs.
Yeah, these are what we're gonna play. Which, I mean, bands do that. Like, going back to Lamb of God, like, he does say this song was written about my short stay
in a gated
community. You know, like, so you know what songs, you know, it's gonna be 512, but it's like, it's not like he's announcing
4 songs in a row. This is the next song.
I mean, that'd be kind of like a band being like, okay, we're going to play our encore now. It's going to be Enter Sandman.
Yeah.
You know, like, I don't know. So I didn't, okay. Like, I get why they did this so that you can kind of see like what is going to be played. Now, this is tentative program, but it's like, it is the program.
Yep.
Well, I mean, with 2 things flipped, but like, I don't know. I don't like how they announced the songs during the performance either. And like, if we see the Linkin Park one, I'm probably going to try not to look at this, or I'll be like, hey,
I could buy it.
Buy the tickets really quick and don't scroll down sort of thing. Yep. I don't know. It's just one of those things where it's like, I don't want to know.
It's also different though, I think, for classical music as a whole, because the few classical performances I saw way back when were, they did in celebration of Beethoven in Des Moines as well, where they did every single one of his symphonies, and you bought knowing what symphony you were going to go to.
So you already knew what they were going to play.
You kind of know what you're getting into. Yeah. It's like, I'm going to go listen to this piece of music. I'm choosing to listen to this piece of music. Not like, I'm going to go see this artist and hopefully I hear the song I want to hear. It's, I'm going to hear the song I want to hear.
That makes sense. So maybe it's just a different style of music.
It could be.
Well, and I'm wondering, I haven't been to, maybe we need to just go to a symphony, like a real, I'm saying real symphony performance, but just go to kind of see what happens. But I wonder, like, if you do get like a program, you know, like for the ballet, like you get a program that goes through the, like, here's scene 1, 2, 3, 4, intermission, scene, you know, like all that. So you know what you're going to hear then.
Yeah, you do. You get the program that will tell you like who's composing, the members that are up on stage, what instruments they play, what chairs they are. You get a lot of promotion for people who bought ads, and for the rich donors who gave us a bunch of fucking money to get their name in the program. And then you typically get like
start doing that.
you get like a paragraph or two also of the piece of music to, again, that background into what the music is, what the feeling is, what it's supposed to be about. Like, this is the 4 seasons. This is the changing of the seasons in each movement.
So you do know what you're listening to.
You do, yeah.
Yeah, so it might be just a different style of music that does that. I mean, I know people look up set lists before going to concerts a lot.
Again, that's just one thing we don't like to do.
Yeah.
So.
I don't know.
Some people might love to do that because they want to know what they're getting into. And like, am I going to hear my favorite song or not?
Yeah. Like, I'm on a lot of Disturbed pages on Facebook, and somebody was like, does anybody have a copy of a stage set list, or, like a set list? And like when the pyro's going to, like, they wanted to know all of it. And I'm just like,
they want to take photos and shit, probably.
I think so. Yeah.
Because I did when we went to see Shinedown. We went with our friend Angie and Josh, and Angie goes to Shinedown all the time. She fucking loves them. And I knew that, so I was like, hey, when there's gonna be pyro and shit, just tap me on the shoulder so I fucking know when to be expecting. And that's what she thinks. Like, you're gonna get a lot of pyro for this next song, trust me.
Yeah.
Sure enough, boom, there it was.
Yeah, I mean, I guess that's kind of cool for like the photos, and I'm sure that's what it was for. But it's like I don't want to know. And I knew before we saw Disturbed last year that they didn't end with the sickness, or done with the sickness. And it's like when I saw that on the Facebook, or on Facebook, I was like, I don't want to know that. Like, why would you say that? I don't know. What were your thoughts on knowing the songs, though?
I didn't know the songs. I didn't
you didn't look at this?
I purposely did not going in. I'm not a fan that it's listed there that you get to see them. But again, that's me personally. I wish it was on the webpage, maybe hidden, like with a drop down or something.
Oh, yeah, that makes sense.
Like, tentative program. Click here to expand or to view. Yeah. So it is hidden for those who want to be surprised. Again, that's just our way to consume live music and the way we prefer to do it. It's not right. It's not wrong. It's just our way of doing it. Overall, though, I thought the performance was great. I really enjoyed it. The chatter level was probably a 1 to 2 for me. It was not much chatter. It was just that murmur.
It was a whisper. Yeah.
Still a little distracting. So chatter level for me, 1 to 2, I would say. I don't know if you would agree with that.
Yeah, that's fine.
Maybe we'll start doing this for all the live shows we go to, but chatter's been a fucking issue.
Yeah. I even saw, so it was a arena show for some pop art or some artist or whatever, and they called the person a Karen, which pissed me off. But basically she was like complaining to an usher about the people sitting next to her, and she wanted to be moved. Like, not saying like, she's like, either I need to be moved or they need to be moved.
Or shut the fuck up.
And people in the comments were like, you're at a live show. What do you expect? I'm like,
you to shut the fuck up.
I expect for you to shut the fuck up and listen to the music. If you're singing along to the music or cheering, that's a different thing.
Yes.
But if you're just talking about some random,
here's my day at work today.
Yeah.
What are we having for dinner tomorrow?
This is where I parked my car. This is how many beers I'm going to drink tonight. Like, I don't really fucking care.
Yeah.
Like,
we're here to enjoy the music. We're here to listen to the music, not your side conversation.
Exactly. So,
and you paid how much fucking money to be here to chat? Like, enjoy the moment, enjoy the music. Yeah.
I don't know. I guess I agree. I guess I agreed with the Karen, because I was like, no, you should either have the right to move. And again, she was in seats where we were just talking. Like, if we were on the floor, we would have just moved to a different section. Yep. Where if you're in the seats, you can't move. Anyway,
different small tangent. All in all,
we always go on tangents. It doesn't matter.
All in all, I really did enjoy it. I loved the background, the little chats in between. I wish there was more of that.
Yeah.
We have a vinyl of the Lost performance that they did. They went and played the classic, like the score for Lost, in a setting where they came out and they talked about the song and what scenes they're in and how it's important and whatnot. I really loved that backstory and that interaction. I really loved it here too. Again, the Candlelight for me was a little bit.
Yeah, it could have just been in a regular theater.
Exactly. Yeah. I would have gone to see that too.
Yeah.
Thinking more on it, I'm kind of glad the movie scenes weren't there, because it would have distracted me a little bit more from the music. Not as much, but it still would have been a little bit of a distraction from the music. And we're here for the music. So, but all in all, $33 a ticket. This is definitely worth it for me.
Yeah, just for a night out. Yeah.
A lot of fun. Definitely want to go see more of this, and probably will at some point in the future.
I really want to go to, like, if they do a Linkin Park, or like, I don't know, maybe, I don't know if they would do it, but like a Metallica, or just something like more our style of music.
Yeah.
I mean, this was really cool, but it would be fun to
But
kinda
to be
going.
fair, like if this is the same night of the same reason we didn't go to Linkin Park, if this is the same
Yeah.
night of Avatar in Town or any other band
Yeah.
we halfway enjoy
Yeah.
or haven't even heard of, but it's a metal band at whatever, the
We're
Metro or
choosing
some
that.
shit, I would choose that
Yeah.
over this. This is, to me, this is more of a, if we have nothing going on, I'm more than happy to go check this out. I would love to check this out. I
Yeah.
love live music. Let's fucking go check
That's
it
kind of
out.
how this came up. Is I was like, oh, they're doing Hans Zimmer. Like, you want to
In
go
3
see
weeks,
it?
we don't have anything going on.
Yeah. Let's go see it. So.
But yeah, definitely worth checking out. And it's live music. Live music in a whole, it's just fucking awesome.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. Just building on what they even opened with is like, thanks for coming out to. Because I think they even said, like, we know you could sit at home and watch these movies and hear this music, but you're supporting live music. So
right. Yeah, exactly.
Which we 100% agree with.
And if it's not something you're really into, still go check it out and find out. If you've never done it, experience it, find out for sure that, yep, I'm not a real fan of movie scores. I don't need to go see this again, but who knows? Just go explore music, go explore live music. It's a blast. So go out and check it out.
Yep. Bye.